Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day. It's Gord, your hurtin' hippie, for Hump Day, Wednesday. I'm a little quiet. You may have to turn your volume up a little bit, or maybe I will, because the boys are sleeping and I have a house full. I have 2 extra dogs. Here's a picture of the group. And I've got them till Friday, a couple more days. Cheers. Okay, I've said this before. You keep cheating, you read the title, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not really sure what I'm titling it yet, but it's about politics and it's about cannabis. And it's about my first time to see a Republican actually discuss cannabis in a free and almost open way. What I mean is, go check Joe Rogan Experience JRE. Joe Rogan Experience, he just did a podcast with Dan Crenshaw, Republican House Senator, I think, Congressperson. I'm not really sure. That's not my area. And anyways, Joe Rogan, as we all know, is a proponent, a friend of the plant. Republicans have always been against it. And this is part of my issue being a hippie, where I end up somebody walking by. Hang on a second. Actually, a good friend just walking by. She's walking her dog. It was a good discussion, and I want to watch a lot more of it. What I was saying is, my issue with Republicans has always been this freedom issue. I understand the Republican need to be conservative, to move slowly on legislation, to gather all the facts before making up your mind, and to not push. And Republicans have been against legalization of cannabis. Liberals have been for it, but that doesn't mean I jump on the liberal wagon, because the right wagon has a broken wheel. That's a good analogy, because the left wagon has a couple of broken wheels too. They're both rickety old wagons. We need new politics, is what we really need. Need a lot of coffee too. But pitter patter, get at her, Gord. What I noticed was a difference. The right is starting to cave when it comes to cannabis. In fact, it almost seems like a political strategy that they are saying, hey, let's be safe. The jury is still out on why federally something like cannabis needs to be legal recreationally. However, we as a federal government need to step in, because this is because medical marijuana, the jury's not out. It has benefits, and we need to free it up to allow for more and more knowledge to come forward, and then take the next step, if efficiently done, into full recreational legalization. Now, you watch that, he hums and haws every time he's caught in a corner. I like Dan Crenshaw. I really respect a man who will almost have lost his life defending his country, and then continues to serve his country politically. There's a man who cares about his country. So no matter what he says, even if you disagree with him, you've got to have some respect for the man. And I can see he's walking a delicate line. He didn't want to talk about his own experience with pot, which is weird in today's world. He kept saying, I don't think I can hear you, So he didn't want to discuss his own relationship with cannabis. But he seems quite happy to say, but it doesn't hit, it hits you much harder than, say, scotch would hit you. And I would have to say, wrong. I could smoke 3 joints, but if I have 3 drinks of scotch, I'm in bed. I'm beating up the neighbor. I'm doing something wrong. But that's what this, I'm saying but it a lot. It's an interesting situation where we are seeing federally the side that always stood in the way now having, although they have not articulated it as such, it seems, if Dan Crenshaw is kind of being a face forward of the Republican Party, that they're coming forward and saying, hey, let's at least legalize it federally for medical purposes. And let's see what comes out of that knowledge as to whether we should go recreationally. Although I do disagree with him, and now is my time to say the more centrist point of view. He kept saying, we don't know yet if the use amongst youth will go up or down. And he's wrong. He's not looking at the studies out of Oregon and Colorado and in Canada. Use by teens goes down when it's legal because ability to find it, instead of being able to find it on the street or through a friend, those situations are drying up in Canada. It's there, but very, very hard for somebody who doesn't have knowledge of the street to find it. It's in stores now, stores that they can't walk into, just like liquor. It does solve that problem. His main issue with it, if you look at the studies, are already solved. I'm loving being outside here. I haven't done this in a while, and it is an early morning of a really hot day, and then tomorrow the temperature changes huge. I had a horrible day yesterday. Oh, it was bad. I had a migraine that could drop an elephant. It really could. It was like an elephant gun inside the head going off every few seconds. My temples were bouncing. It was a tough one, and I finally took an Advil and went and laid down for a couple hours, and it calmed down. And now this morning it's a dull roar that I think I can handle. I think I'm okay. How you doing, eh? I should stop doing that. If somebody's gonna call me Fredo. Anyways, let's not get into that. That's a little bit divisive, and I'm not divisive. I want to find the centrist way, the simplest way for society to move forward and be more caring for each other. It's time for a little known fact. And I didn't bring it with me. But magically, I'll be able to go back in there, get it, come back here, and it'll seem like time didn't even pass. Time, such a fickle thing. Odd facts about the body. There is I already read those. There are more living organisms on the skin of a single human being than there are human beings on the surface of the earth. So we have more than 7 billion living organisms on our skin. On the skin. I need a different one. The longest bout of hiccups lasted nearly 69 years. Wow. What a pretty day. Seeing the mom out there playing, kind of teaching her son how to play soccer while she's running with a coffee cup, drinking her morning coffee. It's only 7:30 out there, so fun to see. fun to be a part of. I love living across from a park and watching this kind of interaction and sometimes being a part of it. So friends, peace and cheers, love and harmony. Catch ya on the other side.